Hey guys, welcome back. It is one day late, but I finally finished editing the last reaction to Tales of the Jedi. It's probably going to take about an hour to save to the computer and then another 15 or so minutes to upload. I feel like I've been on the computer editing all day, or the computer's been used to save things to the computer all day. That's been taking the longest, at any rate, yeah. This was on par with what we've seen from other Clone Wars animations. I know Dave Filoni can't leave it alone, but I can't say I'm going to complain because overall this series has been pretty amazing. I have to say that the Ahsoka story arc hit me a little bit harder than the Count Dooku one did, although the Count Dooku arc had the biggest shockers of the whole series. So, of course, full spoilers. If you haven't seen my reactions, links are down in the description box. I'm hoping to get this up by about 6 p.m. tonight. And after that, I'm probably going to be taking a break because I'm just like, whoa. The structure of the whole the mini-series with just 6 very short episodes of Tales of the Jedi was really interesting. I know some people are upset because, wah, it's not canon, you know. I don't I don't worry about that kind of thing. Granted, I have not read all of the novels, but people should know that most of the time story writers do not pay any attention to spin-off novels, like, at all. They may cherry pick a few circumstances, but they will not copy spin-off novels in series or movies or anything. So, and it sounds like my husband just got home. So pretty much book canon kind of needs to be tossed by the wayside if we're talking about Star Wars. So I'm personally not going to worry about it. The first episode was, of course, called Life and Death. It was the first of the Ahsoka arc. Being a mom, this one definitely wrung my heartstrings the hardest. I mean, we've got a 1-year-old Ahsoka who is apparently also Force sensitive at this point, and we see that she has some very... my baby just woke up. So it's about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours after I initially recorded this. But here I am, back again, recording my review of Tales of the Jedi. First, minor breakdown of each episode. Episode 1 is called Life and Death. It showcases baby Ahsoka and apparently some sort of a ritual thing that the mother does when the baby's about a year old, but it goes sour. Thankfully, Ahsoka's early talents with the Force end up bringing her back safely. This episode was definitely the most stressful for me as a mom because my son is a year old. And the thought of anything like that happening to him just makes my heart stop. I mean, yes, Ahsoka came out of it just fine. There was definitely a lot of suspension of disbelief at her riding home on a saber-toothed tiger, but that could only partially be explained away with the influence of the Force. I think that she's entering into too good to be true territory. I mean, I like the character of Ahsoka just as much as anybody else, but that's a little too unbelievable, and maybe it just made me nervous as a mom to see a toddler with a big kitty with big teeth. So that definitely stressed me out a lot. I would rate that episode 8 out of 10, namely because good Star Wars to me is something that affects me emotionally. The second episode is called Justice. It featured a young Qui-Gon Jinn, which was awesome, by the way, and his master Dooku. They were traveling to a planet that was sort of a scorched earth kind of a thing. It was all burned out, and the people there were starving, and they kidnapped a senator's son, but it turns out the senator was actually the guy in the wrong because he, basically, power corrupts, and he sort of screwed up his own people. And Dooku wanted to inflict his own sense of justice on this guy, but thankfully Qui-Gon pulled him back from the brink. And Dooku, as we can see, is very, very jaded and fed up with corrupt politicians. So that was a very interesting glimpse into Count Dooku's character. The next episode, Choices, also featured Count Dooku. And we learn about his motivations for leaving the Order as a whole. He and Mace Windu are sent to investigate the death of another Jedi Master, whose place on the Council Mace Windu ends up taking, by the way. And that only serves to turn Dooku further away from the Order. And I think the final tipping point is when he receives word of his former apprentice Qui-Gon's death at the hands of a Sith Lord, which the Council, of course, did not believe him about until after Obi-Wan came back and told his tale. The fourth episode, The Sith Lord, is, of course, the final in that particular story arc. This is where Dooku officially leaves the Order. It's... and of course, I forgot to mention in the previous episode, we saw Yaddle, who's the female of Yoda's species with a ponytail or whatever. And interestingly, she does not speak backwards like Yoda, so that was a big surprise. Another big shocker was the fact that Dooku had already fallen under the influence of Palpatine by then. Right around the time of episode 1, it's like, whoa, hello. Even in the era right after Darth Maul kicked it. So that kind of blew my mind. And apparently this messes with some sort of a canon concerning Yaddle, but I haven't read any of the old books. They're, I guess, now considered legends, so that's neither here nor there. Episode 5 was called Practice Makes Perfect, back to Ahsoka. And it features some very, very harsh training methods by Anakin, but he's just trying to toughen her up so she can hold her own no matter what. And at the end, the big sort of a gut punch is when you realize, oh, wow, she learned how to hold her own against clones, not just droids. And that's what, in part, helped her survive Order 66, which is kind of, oof. Ooh, that was rough. Episode 6 of this series, the final, was called Resolve. It opened with an out of nowhere. They got straight to Padme'S funeral on Naboo, where apparently Ahsoka's hiding out and watching in secret. And oh, that was too much. I could not handle that after the ending right before Order 66 with the last episode, and then we cut directly to Padme'S funeral. It's just like, no! I mentioned it in my reaction, which of course the link is down below. You know that meme where the guy goes emotional damage? Yeah, I felt that. And she makes friends with Bail Organa, who gives her this little communication device, and several years later, the Empire's taken over. She's hanging out in this farming planet. And unfortunately, she gets found out as a Jedi. This one guy thinks he's doing the right thing by reporting her, but the village gets destroyed, and in comes an Inquisitor, which Ahsoka dispatches actually without the help of her lightsabers, which again is kind of mind-blowing, but wow. The sort of half good, half bad is that the refugees from this... Yeah, he's adding his 2 credits. The refugees from this particular village end up apparently going to Alderaan, and we all know what happens to Alderaan. Yes. Dada's in the room, honey. My son is sitting right there. Oh, I forgot to rate the rest of the episodes. Yeah, Justice I would rate a 7 out of 10. Did not find it quite as enjoyable as the first. Choices was very, very good to show Count Dooku's character arc. 8 out of 10. The Sith Lord, again, very, very good for Count Dooku's story arc. We can sort of understand him now. And I like the fact that it humanized him, so that's another 8 out of 10. Practice Makes Perfect. It seemed rushed, honestly, but the ending was kind of oof, you know, right in the feelings. So that was a 7 out of 10. Resolve was also very, very good. Again, a little bit rushed, but it gets an 8 out of 10, which gives an average score to Tales of the Jedi of 7.6 out of 10. I don't know how I came up with that. It was just the math, but I enjoyed it a lot better than that. But what else do we expect from Dave Filoni? He's like the king of the lore of Star Wars at this point, second only to George Lucas, who sold the franchise. So I think the Ahsoka novel, unless I'm mistaken, was published before Disney bought it, so it could very well be considered Legends at this point. The fact that Dave Filoni stuck to it at all when he was actually under no obligation to, since apparently in the cinematic, the Star Wars cinematic universe, books and comics don't matter as much. I know some people are up in arms about that, but yeah, in the end they sort of have to appeal to a wider audience, since not everybody is a bookworm. I am, but not everybody is. So I can sort of understand why they did that, and I'm also understand why some people are upset, but I'm trying not to bring any more negativity to Star Wars at all. You know, my motto is restoring positivity to the galaxy, and I'm trying really hard to stick by that. So apparently my battery is almost dead, so I need to, excuse you. Shh. Apparently my battery's almost dead, and I need to wrap this up. So that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more family-friendly Star Wars content, go ahead and click that little subscription button down below, and don't forget to check out the links in the description box. I've got merch which nobody buys. Excuse you. Shh. I do have a Patreon, which, thank you. Hey. Shh. To the person who kicked that up a little bit. If like one of each of my subscribers could become a $1 patron, that could be my main income. So, and I could probably get a new computer, which at this point is going to have to wait until my next tax return, Lord willing, next year. So we'll try and see you guys next week, and until then, this is the Clumsy Jedi and the shrieks of Baby Jedi. Apologies for that. RIP headphone users. Signing off, and may the Force be with you. You say bye-bye.